Hello, my name is Prime, and welcome back to ATS Showcases, and today we're going to be hauling some curtains today in our ownable triple trailer with this Freightliner Cascadia 5th gen from here in Guymon, Oklahoma, and we're going to head down to Lawton today. But our delivery is going to be mainly on these county roads, which I haven't driven before, by the way, so it's going to be nice to explore them. But we're going to cut through northern Texas. Now, as far as I know, triple trailers aren't technically allowed through Texas, but the GPS is putting us this way, so maybe we just can't pick up contracts in those areas. I don't really know. We're gonna drive there unless if it penalizes me anyways, but I guess we'll find that one out together now, won't we? Now, there are many things to talk about in today's episode, so without further ado, let's get this Freightliner Cascadia 5th gen started up and get on the road. And that is the sound of a beautiful DD15 engine, which happens to be part of the Engine and Transmission Compilation mod, a free sound pack available on the Steam Workshop, a mod I've used plenty in my videos, and I'll have a link for it down in the description below. All right, let's get rolling out of Guymon. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I certainly am. Great to be back here in ATS on the 1.55 open beta still as of recording this video. However, I can assume that this update will be coming out in, well, due course, given that there has been some pretty exciting news for us here in American Truck Simulator world. And as I get around the corner with this really, well, it'll be a slight challenging delivery today with the triple trailers. Haven't done a bit of a road train for a while, so thought I'd shake it up a little bit. Oh, guess the AI is going to let me go. Thank you. There's been some pretty significant news, and in that sense, the, well, shall we say, flagship item of news is that the Iowa DLC is going to be releasing on July 10th, 2025. Now, that is a significant piece of news, my friends. Something that we've been waiting for quite some time. And it's great to have confirmation on that. Once again, July 10th, 2025. So depending on when you're watching this video and when it finds you, first of all, hopefully it finds you well. And second of all, it's not too long in advance from here of when I'm recording this video, which is extremely exciting. And of course, I'll be doing plenty of coverage on the Iowa DLC, different deliveries, and so on. All great and exciting things coming up in just a few weeks' time whenever the DLC releases. So overall, very exciting times with the Iowa DLC in terms of release date confirmation. Again, we've been waiting a long time for that, and it's always nice to have. But there's other news coming along with Iowa, at least over the last few days since our last ATS Showcase check-in, shall we say. The biggest one being the capital city of Des Moines, or Des Moines, depending on how you like to pronounce it, or how the, you know, just the pronunciation of the city name itself is, well, one that I did extra research on, of course, because I did want to get it wrong in the various videos. But I know there are slight different I know there are some slight variances, shall I say, in how various individuals pronounce it. Maybe different regions of Iowa itself, or just around the U.S. So take even my Des Moines with a bit of a grain of salt, shall I say. But please, if there is a more accurate pronunciation than that from what I've been able to find, let me know. But as far as I know, nailed it. So that's good. I'm learning slowly. But either way, capital city, fantastic to see that. Big milestone blog post in that sense, besides release date and so on. Again, milestone blog post. But having the capital city blog post, always one of the last blog posts coming. Again, just nice to see more information on that. And a lot of the cities in Iowa are looking absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've been trying to do just a little bit of comparison and on my other own time, looking at some Google Maps imaging and just seeing, you know, how realistic are some of these screenshots versus the areas, because obviously I don't know these particular areas that well. Absolutely stunning. And I know a lot of you in the comments have been fantastic to keep me updated on how accurate are these different cities, given your familiarity with them. Amazing to see overall. So happy to see the detail level and the quality continually increasing from SCS software. And again, really excited to get my hands on Iowa. I know it's a bit of a hit and miss state for some. I know a lot of you are excited, but at the same time, I completely understand that many of you are saying, well, it's going to be a drive-through state. In that respect, aren't a lot of the states going to be drive-through states in some respects as well? Especially the Midwestern states. It's just the way it is in terms of American Truck Simulator and how moving forward the DLCs will end up relating to each other. Either way, Iowa has a bunch of things to look out for and some challenges along the way, and that's where the next part comes in the most recent blog post that we've had on Iowa, that being the special transports. So special transports are always a bit of a challenge, especially for me, I'll be honest in that one. It's just always something that's fun to do. Challenge, if you haven't purchased the special transports DLC for ATS, highly recommend you do so, my friends, because sometimes they can be annoying. I've talked about it in previous episodes. I won't go there. And the annoying parts aren't per se the deliveries themselves. It's the AI in the gameplay around it. The escort vehicles or lead vehicles and the cops that block off intersections and so on. Those mechanics can sometimes leave you in a state of frustration, to say the least. Either way, it's going to be... Oh, get some engine braking here. Forget the engine. The sound mods add a little bit of extra depth to these DD15s compared to what's in ATS. Regardless, we're going to cycle back to Iowa. I could go back on the whole tangent with the special transport DLC. I'm not going to go there. Needless to say, big challenge, and Iowa will not disappoint by the looks of it. There are going to be 3 new routes included that go across some of the major cities of the state, including Des Moines. It's going to in Iowa City and so on. 3 new routes. Now, a lot of these routes, of course, will be a blend of highway and probably some technical maneuvering with the special transport deliveries. Generally, one of the routes are always a lot more technical than the other. I feel like when going across some of the routes, generally speaking, and again, this is on a high level, I generally feel like out of say 3 new routes coming in for a DLC, I feel like one is generally a lot more straightforward and easy, shall we say. There's like a medium difficulty and a higher difficulty route. You just have to figure out which ones they are. Maybe that's just my, interpretation of that and my experience, or maybe just my lack of ability in some respects when it comes to completing these various deliveries in the newer special transport routes. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see, and of course I'll be doing a special transport delivery probably fairly early in the launch of the Iowa DLC. I've got a bit of a list, I guess I could say, of different delivery types in general regions of Iowa that I want to hit kind of in a priority level, and a special transport delivery is always one of them. It's a very popular delivery in, I guess, the type of delivery sense. But it's also a really fun challenge and shows off a lot of cool areas of the state generally within these routes, because they are predefined and generally are predefined in ways that show off a lot of the detail levels, and detail levels that I always enjoy seeing and you enjoy seeing as well. And what better way to show off a new DLC and something that you may consider to purchase than do a bit of a highlight run, something like a special transport among other videos. So that will be coming, which is really exciting. And now, believe it or not, moving away from the Iowa DLC, another major blog post that came out was on the next rework project for ATS, and one that is slightly controversial or interesting in some respects, but going to be neat in the same way. That is the Route 66 rework project. Now you may be thinking, well, Prime, that's great. The entirety of Route 66 is going to be reworked, right? Yeah, that's unfortunately not the case. Now, I must say, the majority of Route 66, at least currently in ATS, is at some form of decent quality. The earlier stages of Route 66 have been recently reworked in California, or well, I'll say earlier because that's the one end that is completed in ATS right now. That has been reworked with the various stages of the California rework project. So fantastic. That California's dealt with. Then we're moving towards, well, even kind of in here, Oklahoma area and so on, this general region as we continue to move east. The DLCs that Route 66 goes through have a very solid level of quality to them. So, the middle, shall we say, of Route 66 in terms of the ATS map as of now is the Arizona-New Mexico stretch. That is the target of the Route 66 update, or rework, shall I say, and that section only. To an extension of that, by that section only, meaning those areas of Arizona and New Mexico respectively only. So we're not getting a full Arizona and New Mexico rework yet. The entirety of it is not being redone, but the surrounding areas of Route 66 and I guess the I-40, I think it is. Can't recall that, but I'm sure one of you will put it in the comments, and I do appreciate that. Or the I-44, one of the two. That area and that general interstate and road network will be reworked in American Truck Simualator in the Arizona and New Mexico section. So it will then complete or bring up the entirety of the Route 66 corridor to the high enough quality that SES software wants, basically Route 66 to be, for what will be then, I'm assuming, targeted for release just prior to the Illinois DLC that has been confirmed for ATS, but is coming up in the queue in terms of map DLCs. So, although it's only a couple, I guess, DLCs now away, we've got Iowa just around the corner. Then we have Louisiana, and then we have Illinois. So, with that said, and then South Dakota afterwards, but with that said, the 66 rework will most likely come out, to the best of my judgment, before Illinois. That just makes some logical sense. And with that, who knows where Project Road Trip will come out, because for those who don't know, Project Road Trip, a big part of all the initial announcements and so on, we're talking about Route 66 and being able to cruise in various vehicles and so on along Route 66. So the timing of that, and we actually got to get over here. You gonna let me over there, car? Thank you. You will. The AI being kind for once. What a rarity. So yeah, there's some interesting logistics, no pun intended, in terms of the sequence of some of these releases. But the Route 66 rework project, yes, great to have. Great to see at least part or a little bit more of Arizona and New Mexico being reworked. I believe there have been some touches over the years, just little bits and pieces of the various states. At least it's great to see parts of it being reworked, with, of course, the intention to have the full reworks of them done, most likely just after the Route 66 project. That, again, makes more logical sense. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Either way, I would have personally loved to have seen the Route 66 rework project actually just be the Arizona and New Mexico rework project. I understand that there's a timeline involved in the whole thing, and SES Software is trying to make sure that this rework project can be out in time for the Illinois DLC. But that doesn't mean that the greedy ATS fan of myself would like to see, you know, the entirety of Arizona and New Mexico reworked. Now, each of those states being reworked, whether they're done in one phase or multiple phases, will be their own dedicated rework project, I would assume, between the two states respectively. It'd be just like California. I doubt they'd do a SES Software being they. I doubt SES Software would be doing a combination rework project. As great as it would be, I just can't see it happening. Freightliner. You're lucky I didn't honk my horn at you, buddy. The kind Canadian in me restrained greatly. There was no stop sign at that, right? I'm not going crazy? No, they have the stops. Yep, they had the stops. We have right away. Well, there you go. Classic AI moment at its best. So, a big long story short and a bit of a prime rant in the middle of it. The Route 66 project is major news and great to see, again, another rework section. Would I have loved to see more? Yes. Is it maybe realistic for the timeline that potentially is going to be happening with some of these DLC releases? I guess we'll have to find out, but it's seeming like they're just trying, SES Software is trying to line things up, and that's the way it's going to be. Besides Arizona and New Mexico, I want to know your thoughts. What are the different areas, or where do you think SES Software could go with another rework project other than those two states? My first thought would be then just into Nevada, fully redo Nevada compared to, you know, I guess there have been some updates to it, obviously. Is that maybe the next rework project? Or I guess there already have been kind of some reworks done in Nevada, actually. Either way, comment down below where you think SES Software could go otherwise. I honestly think Arizona and New Mexico are they're kind of the obvious choices, to be honest. I guess doesn't mean that they're the only choices, but again, comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Alright, well, it looks like we're going to be making a left-hand turn here across the highway, which is going to be a fun challenge, to say the least. Oh, perfect. Got a break in traffic. Let's send it. Use this DD15 power. Now, the one thing I always forget is that these triple trailers do follow quite well. So, I can't really complain too much about the maneuverability of it, because realistically, the trailers are not the most complicated things, because they're short wheelbases, they follow well, and when paired with a shorter wheelbase Freightliner Cascadia, a day cab again, by the way, today, saw some comments about the love for the day cab, configurations and showcases here on the channel, and I do agree. There was actually, I believe, one comment, sorry, I forget who commented it, saying that there is truly a lack of day cab content on YouTube and various social media platforms. A lot of people do the sleeper variants, or especially the top of the line rigs and full custom and stuff. Some of the more basic, and by all means this is not a basic truck, it also looks really good in this black metallic-y paint, the chrome accents and so on. It is not obviously a full sleeper, so there you go. I'm touching on that a little bit more, and I do agree. A lot of people, including myself, get caught up in sometimes the top of the line rigs and so on, but you know, sometimes the most realistic are the simple ones in life, and the simple configurations, the basic. Just get you around trims are sometimes the best trims in that respect. So I'm going to try and keep things a little bit mixed up more here, and especially when it comes through the Iowa DLC and the various trucks that will be driving. Expect to see some T680 next gen configurations, just saying. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise given the 1.55 update in the content it brings in, hence why I'm driving this today and some other ones recently, just to spread the love a little bit in terms of truck world. But do expect to see some more T680 next gen content, and also comment down below if there's any other combination of truck and trailer you'd like to see. I can always add it to the list. There's going to be a good variety. I've been doing a lot of box trailers recently, again, leading up for Iowa, where they'll be more into the grain and drop deck and flatbed deliveries as far as I can tell. Just trying, again, spread the love a little bit with some of the content and showcases before the main DLC releases, where I try not to make things cookie cutter as much as I can. Even though my commentary at times could be a little bit, well, all over the place, I do try to keep it as natural as possible. And to those who wonder, no, I do not talk like this. at parties or anything like that. Yes, I have seen some of those comments. I know they're cheeky, funny ones, but no, no, I don't necessarily talk like this out and about. It just, I guess it depends on the situation. You know, the more commentary side of my voice has definitely crept into just daily life as well for Prime Simulation outside of YouTube. It just depends, once again, on the situation. But no, this style of commentary and the way I talk all the time and the more emphasized areas of my voice isn't necessarily the way I talk all the time. To be honest, I don't think I would, because I get annoyed at it to a certain degree. I don't think it's the way I commentate is overly annoying. I guess not to most, but seemingly not, because everyone seems to enjoy the videos, generally speaking. But I think it would be honestly tiring for me to do it just day in and day out to the same degree that I do in videos. Yes, I do it quite a bit, and I can go on like this and yabber away about various topics or just about nothing for quite a while if I wanted to. But I think if it was my, day-to-day speech, it would get a little bit dry, let's just say that. So well, it looks like we're heading over to Lawton today. Or I guess, no, duh, Prime. We are going to Lawton. You're the one who introduced it. Oh, good. Get some weird looping of persons here when you get the sarcasm rolling in the way I like to do it. But yes, we're heading over to Lawton. And what I meant to say by that, where my brain was going all over the place, is that we should be getting close to Lawton, actually. And it looks like, well, I guess we are on... can't remember what highway we are on, because that would be, because 183 is going the other way. Yeah, I can't remember. I guess we'll find out. It should say somewhere up here. But we should be getting closer to Lawton, which is absolutely fantastic. It's kind of nice to cut through a bit of Texas again. And yeah, I don't really know if technically should have been driving through some of those side roads with the triple trailers. Technically speaking, from what I can see, the triple trailers aren't fully allowed in Texas for whatever reason, at least in American Truck Simulator. That should be accurate to real life as far as I know. But obviously there was no penalty for me driving into the state, and the GPS took me that way. Not that maybe I should per se rely on the GPS to make sure that I'm going in a legal manner, but you do what you do. So yeah, 62 East is up here, and there's the lot. So we'll be exiting just up here, which is good. But either way, it's been nice to come back into Oklahoma a bit. Obviously, we're doing a lot in this general region for the obvious reasons. But I wanted to do something different with the triple trailers. Again, a road train, and I may or may not have found a massive road train mod on the Steam Workshop, which I may or may not do. Coming up soon here on the channel. Don't know when, but probably be a little bit into Iowa, or maybe I'll do it in the Iowa DLC, but just after a little bit of release. So that will be an interesting video. I've got that one planned for sure. Either way, nice to be back here in Oklahoma, and of course, driving through Texas. Great DLCs. Somehow already showing their age, believe it or not. Not to a great degree, but they are in some respects. Which is crazy to say, given the... Well, I guess it has been quite a bit of time now since, in particular, Texas has been released. But still holds its own. Great DLC overall. I know a lot of you love it. I do. That is for sure. Now, are we going to hit every single red light coming up here to our delivery point? I feel like we may. If so, that is rightfully unfortunate. Oh, there's the Lawton water tower. I think I've delivered the Lawton before, and I believe, actually looking at GPS, looks like I've delivered to the location that we're going to today before as well. Don't know when that would have been, to be honest, because I cannot remember for the life of me what episode that would have been. There's a lot of ATS showcases out there now, and there is about to be more ATS showcases and of other ATS videos as well. For those watching to the end, first of all, thank you. I know there's a lot of you that do. Second of all, a little bit of a hint. I am planning a new realistic series for ATS. Still haven't completely decided on if I'm going to bring back Prime Logistics as the name or if we're going to do something new. I may do something new to kind of leave Prime Logistics as the historic. I'm going to run the yellow here. Save us some stopping and starting time. I may honestly start fresh, unless if I may even actually make it a community post, give some options on what the realistic series name should be and what our company name will then correspond with it. Maybe that's what I'll do. Keep an eye out on the community tab. I don't know when this will be, but at some point I'll put out a poll for everyone to decide that one. But I feel like, unless if it's voted otherwise, I feel like maybe Prime Logistics should be put into the Prime Simulation Museum of series, being one of the first main series it did here on YouTube in general and specifically in ATS as well. I feel like maybe it would be good just to put it to bed and start fresh, especially with a new series that we can move forward with. Again, I've got some planning going on there and how we can make that as realistic as possible, and different ideas for how I could even produce the videos per se, just to make sure that it gives a more realistic way of doing things. And I've got some cool ideas, but we're gonna cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's just say that. But I'll put some names out, I'm sure, soon in the community post, because I want to see what the community thinks, if Prime Logistics should come back or if we turn over a new leaf and choose a different option. Alright, truck, you can go ahead. Make a right-hand turn here once we stop. Don't want to California roll it, as we are not in California. Okay, let's turn out around here. The triple trailers have been following just fine, which is great to see. Sometimes I forget when doing all these different deliveries and so on, just how some of the different trailers do truly react. I know, generally speaking, how they do, don't get me wrong, but I think some of you maybe can attest to this for those who change trailers frequently. It can actually be a bit of a challenge, especially on the reversing side, to constantly change truck and trailer combinations every single time you get into either the game or especially if it were real life. Just because it's harder to get used to the way that a particular chain combination works and handles. Especially on the reversing side, the specifics of axles and truck lengths and so on, just the general handling does change in how you have to set things up. And of course there's a general science to it and methods and tips and tricks, but the overall and overarching, fine-tune and efficiency of reversing specifically and even driving around does change a lot. And that's a bit of a challenge, but one that I always welcome and generally do okay with, like 2 days. Thank you all so much for watching. What a great episode. And let's shut off the truck here so I can actually hear me talk. Beautiful sounds overall. Comment down below what you think about today's video. And if you'd like to see similar videos to this, or if you'd like to see some different truck and trailer combinations here, of course, we'll be doing lots in the Iowa DLC, as I've mentioned plenty within this video and recent videos alike. There's a lot coming, my friends. Just have to be patient, including myself, to be able to finally get my hands on the Iowa DLC and, of course, the related content with it. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.